Thought experiments are among the most powerful instruments ever crafted by the human mind. They belong to a tradition that stretches from ancient philosophy to modern physics, serving as intellectual laboratories where reality can be bent, questioned, or even temporarily suspended. Within these imagined scenarios, we test the limits of our assumptions, probe the foundations of our beliefs, and confront questions that ordinary life rarely forces us to face. Some of these experiments, like Descartes' evil demon or Plato's cave, have become cornerstones of philosophical culture. Yet beyond the well-known examples lies a quieter landscape of ideas. Thought experiments that never became mainstream, but are no less capable of shaking the ground beneath our feet. These are the hidden gems of philosophy, the ones that challenge us not with familiarity, but with surprise. In this video, we will explore 7 such thought experiments, less famous perhaps, but striking in their ability to make us pause, reconsider, and rethink what we believe we already understand. Each one invites us into a different corner of the human mind, asking questions that resist easy answers, and reminding us why philosophy remains one of the most powerful tools for self-discovery. The Swampman Thought Experiment. Imagine a man taking a quiet walk through the woods. The air is still, the ground damp beneath his feet. Then, without warning, a bolt of lightning strikes, obliterating him in an instant. His body vanishes, leaving no trace. But at that very same moment, as if the universe were playing a cosmic joke, a second bolt of lightning crashes into a nearby swamp. The electrical surge jolts the surrounding molecules into an improbable arrangement, assembling, atom by atom, a perfect replica of the man who was just destroyed. The being that emerges from the murky water is the Swampman. He has the same body, the same neural architecture, the same memories, and the same facial expressions. He picks up his walk as if nothing happened. He goes to work. He chats with friends. His loved ones look at him and see the same person they have always known. In every observable sense, he is that man. But is he really? When philosopher Donald Davidson introduced this thought experiment in 1987, he used it to challenge our assumptions about personal identity. His answer was clear. The original man and the Swampman are not the same person. Even if they appear identical down to the last neuron, they do not share a continuous causal history. The Swampman's memories are not the traces of lived experience. They are merely structural imitations of a life that never unfolded for him. Of course, not everyone agrees with Davidson. Some philosophers argue that if the Swampman possesses the same mental content, if he feels the same emotions, recalls the same events, and interacts with the world in the same way, then drawing a metaphysical distinction between him and the original person is unnecessary, even artificial. After all, if consciousness is defined by what happens inside the mind, why should we care about how that mind came to exist? The Swampman forces us into a deeper question. What makes you, you? Your biology? Your memories? Your continuity through time? Or something else entirely? It's a reminder that identity, one of the concepts we take most for granted, might be far more fragile and ambiguous than we like to believe. The Violinist Thought Experiment. In 1971, philosopher Judith Jarvis Thomson published her groundbreaking essay, A Defense of Abortion. Inside it, she introduced one of the most influential and unsettling thought experiments in modern moral philosophy, a scenario designed to strip away political noise and confront the raw question of bodily autonomy. Imagine waking up one morning in a strange room. The light is dim, your body aches, and as you slowly come to your senses, you realize that someone is lying in the bed beside you. Worse, your back is physically connected to this person through a series of medical tubes. Panic rises, but before you can react, you're informed of the situation. The person attached to you is a world-famous violinist, celebrated everywhere for his musical genius. But he is also gravely ill, suffering from a fatal kidney disease. According to the story, the Society of Music Lovers, a well-meaning but ethically questionable group, searched the world for someone whose blood chemistry is compatible with his. Out of millions of people, only you were a match. Without your knowledge or consent, They abducted you in the middle of the night and connected the violinist's circulatory system to your own. Your kidneys are now filtering both your blood and his. If you detach yourself immediately, he will die. But if you remain connected for 9 months, he will recover and safely disconnect from you. This is the question Thomson presses into your hands. Are you morally obligated to let another person use your body for 9 months in order to save their life? Thomson argues that even if the violinist is an innocent person, even if his life hangs in the balance, you are not required to make such an immense bodily sacrifice. The fact that your body is the only thing keeping him alive does not automatically generate a moral duty to sustain him. Your consent matters. Your autonomy matters. Your right to decide what happens inside your own skin matters. She uses this analogy to illuminate the abortion debate from a different angle. Even if we imagine the fetus as a fully fledged person with moral rights, that still does not automatically grant it the right to use someone else's body for survival. Just as the violinist has no inherent claim to your kidneys, the fetus, Thomson argues, has no inherent claim to the mother's body. If the pregnancy is ended, the death of the fetus is not the aim of the action, but a tragic side effect of withdrawing bodily support that the mother is not morally compelled to provide. For Thomson, morality does not demand unlimited self-sacrifice, especially when that sacrifice is imposed without consent. Her thought experiment continues to spark debate today, challenging us to reconsider what moral responsibility truly means when one person's life depends entirely on another person's body. The veil of ignorance. In 1971, philosopher John Rawls introduced one of the most influential ideas in modern political philosophy in his monumental work, A Theory of Justice. To explore the true nature of fairness, Rawls asked his readers to imagine a scenario so simple, and yet so disarming, that it forces us to question the moral foundations of the societies we live in. He invites us into what he calls the original position. You are about to design an entirely new society from the ground up. Its laws, economic structure, rights, freedoms, and institutions will all be determined by you and a group of others engaged in the same task. But there is one monumental condition. You know nothing about who you will be in this society once it is built. Your race? Hidden. Your gender? Unknown. Your wealth, your intelligence, your talents, your religion, your social status? All concealed behind what Rawls calls the veil of ignorance. Once the rules are chosen, you will be placed somewhere in that society at random. You could be wealthy or impoverished, privileged or marginalized, powerful or powerless. And because you cannot predict where you will end up, you cannot manipulate the system for your own advantage. Rawls argues that this forced uncertainty pushes you toward genuine fairness. If you don't know whether you'll be born into comfort or hardship, you are far more likely to design a society that protects the vulnerable, guarantees equal basic rights, and ensures that any inequalities work to the benefit of those at the bottom. Not out of charity, but out of rational self-interest rooted in ignorance. This thought experiment also casts a haunting light on the societies we inhabit today. It asks, are our political and economic systems shaped by justice, or by the desire to protect the privileges of those who already have them? Would any of us choose the world as it currently is if we didn't know whether we'd be born at the top or the bottom? Rawls's veil of ignorance doesn't just challenge our theories of justice, it challenges our moral imagination. It pushes us to consider fairness not from the viewpoint of the powerful, but from the perspective of someone who could be anyone at all. And in doing so, it becomes one of the most compelling tools we have for thinking honestly about what a just society should look like. The experience machine. In his influential book, Anarchy, State, and Utopia, philosopher Robert Nozick introduced a thought experiment that strikes at the heart of one of the oldest debates in ethics. Is pleasure the ultimate good? To challenge this idea, he invites us to imagine a world transformed by extraordinary technology. Picture a team of advanced neuroscientists who have engineered a machine capable of generating perfect simulations of pleasurable experiences. These are not crude illusions or hazy dreams. They are phenomenally vivid, indistinguishable from reality. In this machine, you can live out any life you desire. Fame, love, achievement, adventure. You can program moments of joy, fulfillment, and triumph with absolute precision. The machine has no harmful side effects, and it offers a level of pleasure so intense and continuous that no human life, however fortunate, could ever match it. The question Nozick sets before us is deceptively simple. If such a machine existed, would we choose to enter it? At first glance, the hedonist answer seems obvious. Why not? If pleasure is the highest good, then a life of maximized pleasure should be the ideal life. Yet Nozick believes, and psychological research seems to support, that most people would hesitate, or even refuse outright. They want to experience things, not merely feel as though they have. They want their joys to be earned, grounded in reality, shaped by genuine struggle, growth, and connection. They want to be agents in the world, not passive recipients of sensations. If we reject the machine, Nozick claims, we reveal something profound, that human beings value more than pleasure alone. We care about authenticity, accomplishment, identity, and contact with a world that exists independently of our desires. We want to do, not just to feel. We want to be someone, not just someone simulated. And this is where the force of the thought experiment emerges. The moment we recognize reasons not to enter the machine, we undermine the central claim of hedonistic utilitarianism, that pleasure is the only intrinsic good. Nozick argues that pleasure, as powerful and meaningful as it is, cannot exhaust the depth of human aspiration. The experience machine leaves us with a challenging question. If a perfectly happy illusion is not enough, what exactly are we seeking in a life well lived? Mary's Room. In 1982, philosopher Frank Jackson introduced a thought experiment that has since become one of the central puzzles in the philosophy of mind. It confronts a deceptively simple question. Can knowing every physical fact about something fully capture what it is like to experience it? To explore this, Jackson presents the story of Mary. Mary is a brilliant scientist whose entire life unfolds inside a completely black and white room. She has never seen color, not in books, not on screens, not in the outside world. Yet she masters every scientific discovery ever made about color vision. She understands the physics of light wavelengths, the biology of the human retina, the neural pathways that process visual information. She can explain exactly what happens in the brain when someone sees red, blue, or green. She knows all of it, but she knows it only through monochrome diagrams and grayscale monitors. Then one day, something extraordinary happens. Her monitor malfunctions and, for the first time in her life, flashes a vivid, unmistakable red. In that moment, Mary experiences color directly. And the question is this: did Mary learn something new? If she did, then we are forced to acknowledge that there are aspects of conscious experience, what philosophers call qualia, that cannot be captured by physical information alone. Mary possessed all the physical facts about color vision, yet until she actually saw red, something crucial was missing. Her new experience would show that the subjective, first-person quality of perception is a real and irreducible feature of the mind. But if she did not learn anything new, then we must accept a much stranger conclusion: that complete physical knowledge is sufficient to understand every aspect of an experience. According to this view, knowing all the scientific facts about echolocation, for example, would allow us to know exactly what it feels like to be a bat navigating the world with sound, an idea many find deeply counterintuitive. This thought experiment grows even more intriguing because Frank Jackson himself later changed his mind. He eventually argued that Mary's new experience is not evidence for the existence of qualia as non-physical properties. But despite this reversal, the puzzle he introduced still reverberates through contemporary debates about consciousness. It challenges us to consider whether the inner texture of experience, the what it's like of seeing, hearing, or feeling, can ever be reduced to the language of science. Mary's Room reminds us that the mind may hold mysteries that resist the clean precision of physical explanation, and that the gap between knowledge and experience might be wider than we imagine. Buridan's donkey. This classic thought experiment, with roots stretching back to antiquity, was later popularized as a playful critique of the deterministic views associated with the medieval philosopher Jean Buridan. Its power lies in its simplicity. Imagine placing a donkey exactly midway between two identical bales of hay. The animal is assumed to have no free will and always chooses the most rational, most advantageous option available. But here is the dilemma. Both bales are absolutely identical. They are the same distance away. They offer the same nourishment, the same appeal, the same reward. There is no rational basis to prefer one over the other. And so the haunting question emerges. How does the donkey decide? Or more troubling still, is it even capable of deciding at all? Or will it die of starvation, paralyzed by perfect symmetry? If the donkey's behavior is governed entirely by rationality and external conditions, then it faces an impossible situation. No difference exists between the options, and therefore no reason exists to move toward either one. Pure determinism, taken strictly, would trap the donkey in a motionless standoff, unable to break the tie, condemned to starve despite being surrounded by food. But if the donkey does manage to choose, if it simply starts walking toward one bale, then something outside pure environmental determination must be at work. Perhaps a flicker of randomness, perhaps a genuine spark of free will, perhaps an internal process not fully dictated by external facts. This creates a tension at the heart of deterministic theories. The idea that the donkey might remain frozen until death seems absurd, yet strict determinism appears committed to exactly that conclusion. Philosophers have been divided over the centuries. Spinoza brushed the problem aside, suggesting the symmetry would inevitably be broken by some unnoticed detail. No two situations are truly identical. Others took the scenario more seriously, accepting that in a perfectly symmetrical world, the donkey really might never move. Buridan's donkey forces us to confront a deep question. Can rational decision-making function when the world provides no grounds for preference? And lurking beneath that question is another. Do we need something beyond reason, something like free will or spontaneity, to escape the paralysis of perfect symmetry? In its quiet, almost humorous simplicity, the starving donkey nudges us toward profound reflections about agency, choice, and the limits of determinism. The life you could save. In 2009, the influential utilitarian philosopher Peter Singer presented a moral puzzle that has since reshaped global conversations about charity, responsibility, and ethical living. His question is disarmingly simple, yet its implications reach far beyond the scenario itself. Imagine you are walking down a quiet street when you notice a small child struggling in a shallow pond. The child is moments away from drowning. You know how to swim. The water is not dangerous for you, and saving the child would take only a few seconds. But there is one inconvenience. The moment you step into the pond, your expensive shoes, ones you value, will be ruined. So Singer asks, do you have a moral obligation to save the child, even if it means sacrificing your shoes? For Singer, the answer is unmistakably yes. A human life outweighs any material possession by an immeasurable margin. No reasonable person would accept the destruction of a pair of shoes as a justification for letting a child die. The scenario feels intuitive, immediate, emotionally undeniable. But Singer then presses the issue further with a far more challenging question. If saving a nearby child is a moral duty, does distance matter? Should our obligation fade simply because the child in need happens to live thousands of kilometers away? In his book, The Life You Can Save, Singer argues that there is no moral difference at all. A child dying from preventable disease in another country is just as real, and just as deserving of help, as the child drowning in the pond. The expensive shoes in the story serve as a metaphor for the personal cost of charitable giving. If you agree that ruining your shoes is a trivial price to pay for saving a life nearby, then logically, the small financial cost of effective charity should also seem trivial when it can save lives far away. To Singer, the conclusion is clear. If we believe we should rescue the drowning child at our feet, then we should also feel compelled to help those suffering across the world. Need, not proximity, defines moral responsibility. Of course, this radical claim has sparked vigorous debate. Critics argue that the two cases differ in crucial ways. The drowning child is a direct and immediate threat that you alone can address, whereas global poverty is a complex, systemic issue shaped by political, economic, and social forces. They contend that these differences generate distinct ethical contexts, making it unreasonable to treat the cases as identical. Yet even with these objections, Singer's thought experiment forces a powerful reckoning. It invites us to reconsider the boundaries we draw around compassion and challenges the comforting idea that moral responsibility weakens as distance grows. It asks us, with quiet but relentless force, if we can save a life, and the cost to us is small, what excuse do we really have for not acting? As we wrap up this journey through the hidden corners of philosophical imagination, one thing becomes unmistakably clear. The mind grows only when it dares to wander. As Hannah Arendt once said, thinking itself is a kind of freedom. And throughout this video, that freedom is exactly what we tried to explore, one thought experiment at a time. If these mental adventures sparked something in you, then let's keep pushing the boundaries together. Hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications helps this community grow and keeps our shared curiosity alive. And I'd love to know, which thought experiment stayed with you the most? Share your reflections in the comments. After all, philosophy becomes richer when minds meet, clash, and illuminate each other. See you in the next one.